Hello and a very warm welcome to the France 24 interview. I'm Sanam Chantier. Our guest today is Samuel Bollendorff, whose work spans over decades, addressing poignant topics from the blurring of borders to the challenges of life in social housing to obesity. He's currently showing his photographs at Visa pour l'Image, a festival in Perpignan in the south of France. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on France 24.
Thank you very much.
Now, your latest project, which is called Contamination, it questions our responsibility as citizens in the face of this massive, irreversible industrial pollution. It's certainly a very timely topic.
Yeah, it's the idea was to show different pollutions, industrial ones, but not in a far country, a poor one, or with a dictator, but with partner countries. So it's in Canada, in United States, in Europe, in Italy, or in Japan. And there we have destroyed land, big piece of lands with contaminations, different type of contaminations, nuclear from the mines, from the exploitation of oil and things like that. And the idea is to face that as we are partner, we are consuming this product who contaminate so the huge part of the world. And of course there's a lot of victims and
we'll go into the details a little bit later, but your exhibition brings together a combination of photographs as well as rather extensive text. Is that because you found it rather challenging to address the extent of this crisis through just images?
I think many of these contamination are totally invisible. So it was also a real thought to find a way to figure it for the public to get the feeling of the contamination. And I think with beautiful landscape, we are okay to we have an empathy with the aesthetic of the place, and when we read the text and we read the hour and the fact that for centuries, for decades, we won't be able to live in that place, maybe we have a feeling about that, maybe deeper than just an information or just a picture.
Samuel, reading the text in English, correct me if I'm wrong, I sensed some poetry in there. Was that intentional?
Yeah, I think it's the same way to try to involve the public in something maybe a bit deeper than only the information, but to react, to have a strong feeling, because I think we have to to involve the public if we want to change those things. The politics are not doing it, so the public has the public opinion has to wish it, to be able to force the politics to do it.
I want to go through some of your photographs. You capture the worst environmental crisis in the history of Brazil, which of course happened in 2016. That was the collapse of a mining dam. Talk us through this particular image. It's very striking.
Yeah, in fact, it is the end of the river where it meets the Atlantic Ocean, and it's totally red, and it's totally red for 650 kilometers. The river is dead because all the tsunami of sands and of dust and of toxic product who flowed in the river after the collapse has totally destroyed all the life. And even in the sea, we can find toxic pieces, and the fishermen can't fish anymore, and it's totally dead. We call it the dead river now.
For some reason too. And in your project, Samuel, you hone in on certain global leaders, in this case an ex-global leader, of course, Stephen Harper, whose legacy had included the expansion of the production of Alberta's heavily polluting tar sands, and you indirectly say that this is done for, quote, the smell of money. Strong statement there.
I think the Alberta problem is that it's so much money, it's so many employees, and they are seated on the third reserve of oil in the world, and they can't stop. They can't make the good decision. So they say that they are trying to make it the best way, but it's not true. That they are always trying to earn more money. So they choose the most polluting process to extract the oil. And in the north of Alberta, all the First Nations are totally destroyed. People have cancer. They can't hunt. They can't fish anymore because the fish are deformed. So, and the communication and the politics are only saying, yeah, it's a green energy because we have done a lot of effort, but it's not enough. We just have not to do it if we are not able to do it in a clean way.
Of course, politics and the environmental issue very much go hand in hand, but you also have this very human element in your photographs. You spoke to one fisherman, and this quote it really had an impact. It says, "One day we started catching fish, they were deformed. White man has killed our resources." And there's no denying that there's a real immense sense of darkness when we look at your images and read this text. Does that reflect, in a way, your own lack of hope for the future when it comes to the environment, Samuel?
I don't know if I have a lack of hope, but when I started this series, I was not aware at this point, and today
you were not aware of what?
Of the tragedy, because when I've crossed the world, I turned around the world and I saw how small and fragile was the planet. And you really have the feeling that it's not possible to continue like that. It's not possible. This is the only thing. After that, we can say what we want, but if we are not reacting, I don't know how, yeah, maybe I will lose hope.
Samuel, your project doesn't just focus on the environment, which are the majority of the images that we've been seeing up until this point. It also shows life in the shadows of some of the major pollution sources, people suffering from the likes of cancer or other health conditions because they're being exposed to chemicals. Can you tell us about your Toxic City series and whether you found something like that slightly more challenging?
In Anniston, in Alabama, Monsanto has produced for 60 years PCBs, and they have thrown away the bottom of the tanks of the industry just in an open air land and in a river. And everywhere, this city has an amount of PCB which is dangerous for living, so people have left, but some of them.
And I think it touches on what you said earlier, because looking at it, you can't sense that from the photographs because you're looking at these incredible green, alive images, yet there's death behind it.
Yeah, the nature is coming back, but it's not a nature we can live with. And for that, we need a way to speak about this invisible thing, because when you look at that, you could feel that, okay, nature is here, so it's okay. But no, it's not okay. People who live there, the women who live there can have children with 12 fingers, and I met them without eyes because of the PCBs. It's not a place where it's possible to continue to live. And it's in United States, in Alabama. It's not in the end of, I don't know which poor or dictator country.
Samuel, I think increasingly we are becoming more aware of the media's role when it comes to the climate change story. And I sense that you really also have a sense of responsibility. Do you, certainly after having completed this project, do you plan on doing more exhibitions focusing on the environment? Because this issue isn't going to leave our side anytime soon. If anything, it's deteriorating.
Yeah, I think we will still have some work about that. And when I spent all this year working on that, I'm coming back changed. I can't forget that we have that issue. So maybe I will continue, but I will also continue to show this exhibition and to try to show it the more I can.
Do you just capture the moments and images and exhibit them, or do you also liaise with decision makers? Because what you're getting to see and experience, many people in their lifetime won't be able to.
The idea was really to try to create an experience with of the public. So I lived that, but I try to bring it back in a way that people could leave the exhibition with an experience, not only with information.
So more addressed to the public as opposed to policymakers. Well, Samuel Bollendorff, thank you so much for speaking to us. I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Now, if you want to get a glimpse of Samuel's photos, his exhibition is showing at Perpignan until September the 16th. Thank you for watching the interview on France 24.
Thank you very much.
Because a new page of history gets written every day. Because breaking news can't wait. Information everywhere. In all situations. On every subject. Understanding the world. Imagining the world. France 24. A different take on the news.